Yo, what is up, my dudes? I'm back with another video. This time, I'm gonna be titling it, The Split in Fan Bases, because I will be talking about certain fan bases that have been split over the years, such as 3D Mario, Atelier, unfortunately, with Atelier Rise of 2, splitting the fan base. What other ones? Paper Mario, after Sticker Star, Color Splash in the Origami King, Sonic being a really split fan base. I was actually, funny story, I didn't really find out how toxic that particular fan base was until after I left, that actual series until Mania actually released. And with that info, you will know which side that I am on for Sonic. I am on the classic 2D side. I had left for like almost 2 years because they weren't releasing a 2D type Sonic game. And there's 3D Sonic. I have friends who like 3D Sonic more. I'm not against anyone who likes the other Sonic games. They're just not why I like Sonic, because, like, again, I grew up with Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, which is, part of Sonic 3. I didn't really know that until years later. Sonic 3 is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time, even over Mania. As much as I love Mania, I like Sonic 3 still the most. It'll always be my favorite. I highly doubt that they will ever be able to top that game in particular, because, like, it just will always be my favorite. Speaking of really split fan bases, there's another one that, unfortunately, your boy, me, basically, got split, actually, which I didn't really cause the split. It was the actual fact that the games weren't released to the Western people until, you guessed it, Trials of Mana. The Mana series is nearly as split as the Sonic series, which unfortunately is not any of the fans' faults, because it has been going on for, like, what, 20 years, probably? Like, it has just been insane. Unfortunately, I like Atelier as well as most of my friends who fell in love with the Trials of Mana remake. We like Trials of Mana because of the JRPG mechanics, where you can actually swap your teammates during battle. Instead of a turn-based RPG, it's more of a JRPG where you can actually switch your teammates one after the next, or back and forth without giving up your turn. It's another reason why that series is even more split now than it has ever been, because, again, Trials of Mana had just split it up even more than it already was. Which, again, none of our faults. It's the devs. But I will be going back to another one, which unfortunately was also split. And also, another one was actually split. I will not be going over this one, unlike the rest, because I really have no real experience with this next series, unlike the other ones that I've actually mentioned. The Final Fantasy series. I know hardly nothing about that series, except from a friend from one of my friends' videos saying, similar to Paper Mario, the Final Fantasy series is also split in two halves, similar to, you guessed it, Paper Mario as well. And unfortunately, going back to 3D Mario, 3D Land and 3D World, there was a ton of backlash. And sorry if I'm yelling it into the mic, I am just really, really passionate about 3D Mario. Because, let me just say this, I played Galaxy 2 one time for nearly 12 hours straight. I'm not lying, guys. I literally played it for that long. Had just some minimal bathroom and food breaks to actually stay alive and actually keep playing. But other than that, I was playing Galaxy 2 for nearly 12 hours straight. Not kidding, man. And that game is still my favorite 3D Mario game to this day. But back to the split. 3D Land and 3D World split the fan base as well because you don't collect Power Stars. Which is the main actual reason why people like myself were just pissed and going excuse me, going ballistic in the comments, specifically with 3D World's announcement, because everyone, including myself, wanted Galaxy 3 at that time, because again, Galaxy 3 would have had the Power Star actually collect-a-thon actual gimmick, where at the end of the stage, you collect Power Stars. That is what makes 3D Mario 3D Mario. That's what makes it different from 2D Mario. That's why 3D Land and World were so hated, because, get this, at the end of the stage, there's no Power Star. You just go on the flagpole like, you guessed it, 2D Mario. That is why people were just like, why is it even a 3D platformer? Yes, we were that petty. We were that fucking petty, including myself. Why would you put a flagpole at the end of the stage and even go through the effort of making it a 3D game in the first place? Why? Why? At that point, yes, your boy is that petty. I don't care. Why would you even go through the effort? Just make it a 2D platformer game. Make it a 2D platformer game at that point, man. I do not care if it's the best 3D game of all time. If it doesn't have the Power Star collect-a-thon gimmick, it's not worth buying. Real shit. Not kidding. Like, I hate to be that way, but that is verbatim what literally everyone was saying. No Power Star gimmick, no 3D Mario. That is what made the series 3D Mario. Like, why would you even go through the effort? If you put the a flagpole in a 3D game, just make it 2D at that point. It's not even worth the money, the effort, or anything at that point, because people aren't gonna buy it at that point, especially when we were begging and pleading for them to make a game similar to 64 for nearly, like, what, four years, if you don't count Treasure Tracker, which, another actual debate here. It always pisses me off that people consider Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker for the Switch, 3DS, and the Wii U an actual spin-off series. You know what I consider that game? I bet you can't guess. A true 3D Mario game. Want to know why? Because you collect Power Stars. That's why. It satisfied the 3D Mario itch that 3D World never could. Never, ever. I have played 3D World for fun before, and I can't. It literally, that part of my brain never goes off. I want to collect Power Stars. I don't care. I can't turn that part of my brain off. I need the Power Star gimmick to make it a 3, to count it as a 3D game. And to rub even more salt into the 3D World fans' wounds. Because, yeah, I am not done. You know those Captain Toad Treasure Tracker stages in 3D World, right? Get this. The game would have been 100% better if it just had those levels in particular for the entire game. For the entire fucking game. It would have been 100% better for 3D World to just have those stages. You want to know why? I bet you can't guess. One effing reason. You collected Power Stars at the end of the levels. It felt like 3D Mario, dang it. Like, why? Why couldn't they have taken the opportunity to make a full game, which we didn't really know at the time that they were actually doing, to make a full game off of those stages? And think the effing Jesus above, my Christian side, is actually coming out while I'm ranting and raving, that, get this, they did. They actually answered our prayers a year later after people were pissed, livid, disappointed, rioting, you name it. People were just disappointed and were just mad at that point. Until the freaking awesomeness that is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker was released. Because, yeah, that game satisfied a bunch of our classic 3D Mario itches. And I will tell you why. Because it felt like 3D Mario. It had the Power Star gimmick. It had what we loved. Dude, I consider Treasure Tracker a true 3D game 100% more than I will ever consider, and I mean ever, consider 3D World or Land a 3D game. If anything, those are the spin-off games. And they always will be. Like, I don't like to get into this huge debate about our side, but I will, because, again, I'm pretty passionate about that series. I love that series to death. But 3D Landed World? No. Nope. They will never, ever be a true 3D game. Ever. And apparently millions of people agree with me, because I had found out a year after 3D World actually released, I felt empty, and around that time, I thought that I was the only one who felt that way. Funnily enough, there were thousands, there were millions of people who felt the exact same way. Not just that, but around, get this, a year after 3D World released, there were millions of us who felt the exact same way that I did. We were all just pissed, mad, disappointed, it was just a madhouse. There are Reddit posts of people literally asking, why do people want an actual new game right after we got one? Because it's not 3D Mario, dude. 3D World isn't 3D Mario. That's why people were begging them just a year later to make a true 3D game. A year later. That's how petty we were, guys. I felt that way. And apparently a bunch of other people did too. Thankfully, we actually did get a true 3D game, actually, around that frickin' time, actually. Thank God for Treasure Tracker, I'll tell you that much. But that is going to be it though, guys, because I am running out of time. Until next time, peace.